Welcome to today's edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, we got so much to get to. Nikki Haley is completely delusional. I believe the race is over for her. I believe that Trump will be the nominee, but I want to get into and react to some video that we have of last night's primary, a speech that she gave, or part of it, Donald Trump as well. Also, I'm not sure if you guys have heard the news. This is a big story that broke yesterday, but apparently the Arizona head of the GOP head in Arizona tried to bribe Kari Lake to get out of the senatorial race. I got to tell you, when I first heard the audio, I really thought it was fake. But because I thought it was a hot mic scenario, so I'm like, Kari Lake was in media. I'm not trying to say that she's crooked or anything like that, but maybe she understood the situation. But no, apparently she recorded this because this is probably something that hasn't happened just one time. So anyway, we have that for you. We'll play that audio for you. And guys, I want to just say this right off the bat. Listen, I am a free speech person. I really don't like the way our primary system works. I wish that we would have like primary day and election day so that all of the states could participate. I really don't like the idea of one person trying to build momentum and then donors jump on board or donors abandon one. I think it would be so much better if we had a 1-day primary where all of the states get to go and decide on their candidate. I think that would be so much better for the process. I don't like the fact that states later states don't really get to have a say, right? It's Iowa, it's New Hampshire, and South Carolina, and by that time, there's already a narrative formed typically, so it becomes really hard for candidates to go beyond that point. But let's face it, this time around, Donald Trump, say what you will, and I've heard people argue the opposite, but it's just not true. I'm sorry. Donald Trump is basically a quasi-incumbent president, for the Republican Party. I know that Biden is the selected president. I totally get that. But Donald Trump has like 1,000% name recognition. There's no one in the world. I don't think you can go to the Amazon forest and find, you know what I'm saying? And find someone that has not heard the name of Donald Trump. It's not that case for any other candidate. I'm not even sure if it's the case for Joe Biden, frankly. So anyway, it is what it is. So I'd like all of the states to be able to participate. The problem with Nikki Haley going forward is, just like you've heard, not just from me, or like you'll hear from me, but from others, I just don't see a path forward for Nikki Haley. Ron DeSantis, I loved Ron DeSantis. I actually wanted to see him go further because I wanted to see a one-on-one debate between he and Donald Trump because I think those are the best representations that the Republican Party has. I think obviously Donald Trump was a great president, barring that last year of COVID when he got duped by Fauci and Deborah Birx. And then I think Ron DeSantis is probably the most conservative governing Republican that I've seen in perhaps my lifetime, definitely in a generation, but that didn't happen. So Ron DeSantis, he looked at the forest, right, and he said, "Hey, listen, this isn't going to happen for me. So I'm not going any further. I'm dropping out. I'm endorsing Donald Trump." And then Nikki Haley, listen, I mean, I want Nikki Haley's voters to have a say. I don't want any voter to feel disenfranchised. I think that makes unity within the party easier. But let's face it, this chick does not have a road going forward. So I'm going to play some video for you. But first, before I do, I'm going to give you just some headlines real quickly here because I think there are some real important things. Oh man, you got to be kidding me. There's some real important things that have transpired that I think you need to know about beyond what's happening in the New Hampshire primary. So listen to this. Turkey accepts Sweden into NATO, and Hungary is the final holdout. So This is from the Wall Street Journal. Turkey's parliament approved Sweden's entrance to NATO, removing one of the last remaining obstacles to a historic expansion of the alliance in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The vote on Tuesday night likely ends a nearly 2-year-long diplomatic standoff between Turkey and Western powers that began when Turkish President Erdogan threatened to block both Sweden and Finland's entry into NATO. Finland joined NATO last year after Turkey dropped its opposition. Now, Sweden only needs Hungary's parliament to give its approval to join the alliance. Hungary had pledged not to be the last country to approve Swedish membership, but has now become the final holdout. All right. And so listen, this is obviously a big deal. Here's what I would have to say about NATO. I'm not necessarily a fan of NATO at this point in time. I appreciate these other Western civilizations, but here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want to be dragged into war because these nations are too feckless to stand up for themselves. They won't invest money that they need to stand up for themselves. It is one of the things that I appreciated most about former President Donald Trump by making these European nations kick in some money when it comes to NATO. We don't want to be dragged into a war that we don't have to be dragged into just because they're not preparing themselves militarily. And so if anyone is going to be in NATO, keep in mind they can drag us in. I don't even like this NATO agreement anymore. But listen, let's be honest. I don't foresee any Republican president pulling us out of NATO. So we need to make sure that they pull their weight. Okay, moving on real quickly here. Is that worth? I think we already know that. U.S. attacks another Iran-sponsored terror group in Iraq. Guys, you notice how frequent these foreign policy headlines are popping up under this Biden administration. So this is from Politico. The U.S. military carried out strikes on Iran-backed targets in Iraq on Tuesday. That would be yesterday. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, who we know goes AWOL from time to time. I don't believe that when he disappeared in the hospital, that was the first time. The communication between the president and Secretary of Defense is absolutely horrid. And I'm convinced. I'm convinced of it. All right, going on. Austin said retaliating against a series of Iranian-backed attacks against the U.S. In the region, quote, today at President Biden's direction, U.S. military forces conducted necessary and proportionate strikes on 3 facilities used by the Iranian-backed Kataib Hezbollah militia group and other Iran-affiliated groups in Iraq. Austin said in a statement Tuesday evening, U.S. and Iraqi troops were injured Saturday in a missile attack on a base in western Iraq, leaving some Americans in need of evaluation for traumatic brain injuries. You got to be freaking kidding me. This has been at least 151 attacks on service members in Iraq and Syria. 151 attacks on U.S. service members. And we're talking about proportional attacks. Guys, our response when somebody tries to kill an American should be disproportionate. We should slaughter them. That way we don't have to sit. This is so dumb. This is what causes war to go on and on and on and on. We got to get past this nonsense. If you're going to go to war, if you're going to endanger American lives, we should make sure that we make any type of war, any type of kinetic action, any type of conflict, it should be quick, it should be powerful and painful to the enemy so that we can move on. We don't want to sit there and continue wasting resources and having American soldiers die when they absolutely don't need to. And by the way, I want to honor the 2 Navy SEALs, and I forget their names, forgive me, the 2 Navy SEALs that were now it's a search, it's a rescue and search mission, right? Apparently they're not going. They haven't been found. The assumption is that they're dead. God bless them for their service to the United States of America. Here's another foreign policy story. Israeli Defense Forces experienced the deadliest day of war since October 7th attacks. Apparently, they lost, I think it was 21 Israeli soldiers, hat tip to the Times of Israel, were killed Monday when they came under attack in the southern Gaza Strip, triggering a blast that collapsed 2 buildings with soldiers inside of the buildings. The military said Tuesday morning the buildings were being rigged for demolition by troops when Gazan, there's no such thing, it says Palestinian, there's no Palestinian, when Gazan gunmen fired an RPG at a tank securing the forces. A second blast then occurred in the buildings, possibly as a result of a second RPG, leading to the collapse of the building. Guys, here's what I have to say, and I really don't understand dumb Joe Biden when it comes to all of these pro-Hamas supporters on the left. This is really simple. Israel is a sovereign nation. They have the right to defend themselves, not our nation, all right, not our business, but we will support the only democratic nation in the Middle East. We will support them to the best of our ability, but we're not getting involved in their conflict. It's up to them to defend themselves. Boom, done. Moving on. But man, listen, I pray that Israel wipes out Hamas. I don't want to see a ceasefire until every single Hamas soldier is absolutely dead. Illinois lawmakers suggest, I don't have the video, I should have had this, suggest that residents house illegal immigrants, rich residents in I believe it's in the Chicago, close or right outside of Chicago area. Yeah, right outside Chicago, proposed that residents be able to sign up to host illegals in their homes. They call them migrants, but they're illegal aliens. Anyway, that isn't going to happen. Texas governor, I love this story. All right, so this headline, Texas governor had tipped to the Daily Wire, vows to secure the border in the face of the Supreme Court decision. He says this is not over, quote unquote. Abbott vowed to continue to fight for his state's right to secure the southern border after the Supreme Court sided with the Biden administration on Monday, ruling that the federal officials may cut through razor wire that Texas installed to repel illegal aliens. So basically, you had Amy Coney Barrett and Chief Justice John Roberts sign with the lefties on the bench to allow the invasion in Texas to continue. Governor Greg Abbott must stand up to this in action, not just in word. All right, number two, or not, I'm sorry. All right, now we'll get into the primary. America's top priority is immigration. So having said that, that was surprising, actually, in the primaries. There were a lot more videos that I could have got, but I didn't want to overwhelm Gabe. You know, sometimes he cries a little bit when I try to overwhelm him. So anyway, I didn't want to go too far with that. But it was amazing. I was in for doing special election coverage last night on the Salem News Channel, if you guys got to catch that. And it was amazing how many people, and I forget the gentleman's name, but he's working for Mike Gallagher's show right now. He was on the ground in Iowa, just, catching interviews. And it was amazing how many voters there on the ground in New Hampshire, I'm sorry. The first issue was illegal immigration. I mean, you're talking about way up north, right? Way from the southern border. And I know there's an issue on the northern border, Canadian border, but nothing like the southern border, right? And so that's a big issue. People were concerned. Having said that, without any further ado, I want to get to and respond to some of these video clips, audio clips. Guys, by the way, please follow me on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. We are on X. We are on Instagram. I was going to say Twitter, but Twitter is X. We are on True Social, wherever I am, at Carl Jackson Show or at The Carl Jackson Show. You'll find me if you search either one of those. Also, please subscribe and review the podcast. If you give us the highest number possible, that's going to allow more people to be able to find us. So if you would help us out in that way, we would certainly appreciate it. Share the podcast. We would certainly appreciate that as well. Por favor. All right. So I'm so thankful for you guys that are out there listening in. Okay. So what else did I want to say? Oh, today's show is brought to you by mypillow.com. Guys, don't forget, American made products are so crucial. And by the way, make sure you go to Whole Cows. We had our buddy on, Jason Nelson, yesterday, wholecows.com. They're getting ready to change the name of the website. I believe it's Prepper Beef if they haven't already done it already. But for those of you that are listening, you enter that word STORM as a promo code. And I think he said you get 15 to 20% off. I forget exactly. But a good product there. It's honestly, it's survival. You can eat it today, or you can, if you need it in 10 years, if Biden gets reelected, you may need it because the greenies really don't want you eating meat. So anyway, you can go there. But mypillow.com, Mike Lindell and MyPillow. The reason why I mentioned that company as well, both of these places are providing American jobs and American manufacturing. Mike Lindell has been doing it all along from the very beginning, working hard to employ Minnesotans, and then buying products, right, that are not Chinese made. You can't go anywhere nowadays, it seems like. Guys, you don't know how hard I try when I buy stuff, whether it's online or whether I go into a Home Depot or something, and I will literally search for an American made product. Do you know how difficult that is? It's insane. But anyway, Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank all of my listeners for all your continued support. And to thank you, they're having an overstock clearance sale right now for the best prices ever when you use the promo code Carl, and we spell it correctly here, CARL, and you get free shipping as well on your entire order. Get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0 and the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. Get a 6-pack of towels for only $29.98, and you can take advantage of the free shipping on larger items like mattresses and mattress toppers, 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. I'm looking at the wrong camera. We still having camera issues here. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as bath towels that actually absorb, dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get these best specials ever, go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Carl or call 800-858-0263. That is 800-858-0263 if you want to give them a call and mention my name. Or, again, mypillow.com, Radio Podcast Square at the top of the page, and enter my name, Carl. All right, moving on. Let's get to Kari Lake. Kari Lake is running for the Senate in Arizona, and something happened or something broke yesterday that is absolutely, some people would think it's unreal and unbelievable. Guys, this is not unreal and unbelievable. Stuff like this happens all the time. If you think national politics is dirty, guys, I'm telling you right now that that local politics is just as dirty, if not dirtier, if you can believe it, because there's not as high of a threshold to get into it. And there's a lot of people that can, cling ons in local areas, local businessmen or whomever. Somebody wants to get their back scratched. Somebody wants to be powerful in their own hood, if you will, that will do this stuff. I'm just trying to find the name of this particular gentleman that was trying to bribe Kari Lake. Okay, so this is the top Republican. What is his name? I don't see his name. Okay, but he's the head of the GOP in Arizona. Man, okay, I'm going to have to find his name. Anyway, let's go ahead and play the video or audio. I'm going to react to it again. This is Kari Lake. Now, I thought this was a hot mic situation at first because I was sent the video pretty much immediately, and I was like, I don't know. If this was a hot mic, I was like, Kari Lake, she's good at media. Maybe this is kind of a stunt, forgive me. I'm not trying to, but this is politics. All right. You do what you can do to get the edge. And I'm not saying that Kari Lake is dishonest, but whatever, but it wasn't. She taped this guy. This guy was literally out trying to brag her. So let's go ahead and you listen to this audio. God, why is his name not mentioned? Oh, let me do this. I just hate to, what is his name? Jeff Dewit. Jeff Dewit. D-E-W-I-T. So Jeff Dewit caught on secret recording trying to bribe Kari Lake not to run for Senate. All right, let's go ahead and play a game.
Is there a number at which
I can be bought?
not be bought?
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. A billion, no. This is not about money. This is about our country. I think it's disturbing that they would that anybody would think this is...
No, to be fair, even me, I'll say this. I want a fresh face right now for the reason that I've never seen anyone, I can't think of a single person in a federal race who's lost, ran in and won. Can't think of it. If you can think of it, let me know.
I am not going to let these people who hate our country tell me not to run. You should call them and tell them to get behind me.
Wow. Okay, so I hadn't heard that in its entirety. I'm sold. I'm totally sold. They straight up tried to bribe them. Guys, don't be surprised by this. Don't be surprised by this. These people are dirty. Good for Kari Lake for getting that on audio. This guy, Jeff Dewit, should resign immediately or be forced to resign. This is dirty. Arizonans, you need to stand up to this. You do not want your party taken over or run by a bunch of corrupt people. Guys, I participated in the Seminole County Republican Executive Committee right here locally. It's been several years now, but I will tell you this. There are Klingons that get involved in the political process just to get favors done. It happens all the time. There are rules that are supposed to be in place where, hey, listen, we're not going to support this person during the primary. We're going to stay neutral. I can tell you for a fact, I was spoken to by, let's just say, someone that was high up in the Seminole County Republican Party or committee at the time that was like, we're backing this candidate. I mean, way before the primary hadn't even started yet. It was just, it can be a joke. It can be a joke. And I remember experiencing things, I won't go into great detail, where I was just like, wow. But the issue is morality or immorality. People are morally bankrupt. Remember, it was John Adams that said, this country, I believe it was John Adams, maybe George Washington, this country is wholly inadequate for an immoral people. It will not happen. We cannot fight when you get a bunch of feckless, immoral people that are leading a political party. All right, leading the country, obviously, but also leading a political party where they'll sell out and offer you 10, 20, $30 million to drop out of a race. Wow. Listen, good for Kari Lake. We just need they just need a fresh face. Guys, it's not about having a fresh face. This isn't, sadly, the Republican Party isn't a party of conviction. They don't want to fight for anything. That's one of the reasons why the Republican Party has become a uniparty. Every time we get attacked by the left, we go to the left. Even in our debates. Think about the RNC debates. They were absolute disaster. Now, granted, I think some candidates did better than some. I think DeSantis did okay. Obviously, Nikki Haley did okay, even though I'm not a big fan of Nikki Haley. But you don't hold CNN debates. Democrats refuse to hold Fox News. And Fox News is Fox News is a moderate news organization at best. And so Democrats won't hold a debate there. Why? Because they don't want to be asked fair questions. It's time for Republicans to return the favor. They should have the types of debates where questions are asked from the right, not from the left. And that way you find out pretty quickly who the rhinos are and who are not. But this doesn't surprise me at all. It shouldn't shock you at all. And I hope it propels you to give to Kari Lake's campaign so we can win that race. Now, understand Kari Lake has only been a Republican for a short period of time. She's obviously got the media savvy. I prefer her. Some people are like, Kari Lake for VP. No, guys. Let's test the waters, all right? She's running for Senate in Arizona. Let's test the waters. People can always talk a good game, and I love her, but people can talk a good game. Let's make sure we see what they can do. We want evidence. All right, moving on. This is Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley lost the New Hampshire primary last night. This chick is totally delusional. And guys, listen, she did better. All right, and I know a lot of other people are like, hey, man, she's going to, it's New Hampshire primary, independence, Democrats voting. It's an open primary and all this kind of stuff. I still thought, based on the polling, because I was wrong on the polling initially, I admit that. And so now I was looking at the New Hampshire primary and I'm like, if these Real Clear Politics averages are correct, then Nikki Haley, Trump's numbers were surging. He didn't win by as many as the Real Clear Politics average suggested he would. At the last minute, but he dominated. He still dominated. Now, there is a cautionary tale between both candidates. Trump is still having a problem with independents. Nikki Haley is having a problem with the base. Nikki Haley cannot win a presidential election without the base. I do think Trump can still win. I don't think it'll be a landslide by any stretch of the imagination if, in fact, he does become the nominee, and it's looking like he will, right? I don't think it'll be a landslide by any stretch of the imagination because Democrats have a machine. They're not counting on Joe Biden. They probably would prefer Joe Biden to be eating, vegetables and applesauce so that they can run the whole show anyway. But Nikki Haley is absolutely delusional. Again, I gave you cautionary tales. She struggles with the base. You're not winning the White House without the base, guys. All right, this is just simple. This is common sense. If you can't get the Republican base and you're in the Republican primary, you're going to lose. If she runs as a third party, all she's going to do is make Republicans lose. And this lady will be absolutely hated if she does that. But here's Nikki Haley on a possible third party run. What? Let's go ahead and play this video. Por favor, Gabe.
Martha, I'm running to win this race. And as much as everybody wants to talk about what I'm going to do, at some point, y'all are going to realize that I won this race, and you're going to have to accept when I say I told you so. It is slow and slow. He wins the race. I've done this the entire time. We're going to finish it. I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. I'm running to be president. I'm not going to pull out because somebody wants to be coronated. I'm not going to pull out because they think that I shouldn't be there. The political class has never thought I should be here. In South Carolina, in Congress, at the UN, no one has ever thought I should be here. And that's exactly why I should be here, because I'm fighting for normal people, and I'll always do that.
All right, so now she's the establishment candidate, but let me give her this. When Nikki Haley came into public life, or she rode in on the coattails of the Tea Party movement. So perhaps there was a time and place where she was more conservative. But guys, this happened to Tea Party candidates here. All right here. I'm in Central Florida area. All these people so conservative. So you get a taste of that power. You get a taste of that prestige. You'd be shocked at how many people lose their conviction pretty quickly. That's why politics is a dangerous blood sport. All right, not only just for the political back and forth, but that's that. But she's delusional. She lost New Hampshire. She's going to go on and lose South Carolina. If she does, I wouldn't stay in the race if I were her, because if she wants to have any type of political future at all, you do. Listen, part of it is about branding. Let's be honest. If you go and get dominated in your own state, that's a problem. But all right, let's play Nikki Haley again. This is more with Nikki Haley delusion. No, this is David Axelrod. This is David Axelrod. Love him or hate him. He was Obama's, I forget chief of staff, White House chief of staff, I believe. And the guy is, strategically, the guy is good. I read some of his columns. Obviously, he's on the left, but I respect him because the guy knows what he's talking about. Same thing with Van Jones. Van Jones, communist, basically, right? But the guy, whether he writes, whether he speaks, I pay attention because these guys tend to do a good job explaining the left, or explaining where the Democrat Party is. Without any further ado, here is David Axelrod, former White House chief of staff for Obama, now on, I believe, a commentator on CNN.
I feel for her because I've seen campaigns in this kind of situation before. I've been in this kind of situation before. The fact is, when you set out to win a primary and you don't win it, it's hard to spin it into a victory, and you can't keep doing it. In Iowa, she was going to finish second. She finished third. In New Hampshire, she was going to win. And tonight, we'll see how the final numbers come in. It seems to be widening a little bit. I really question, I question whether she really ultimately wants to go forward to South Carolina and put her popularity to a test in her home state. And I'm wondering whether her supporters and her financiers or donors are going to want to do that too. I mean, I think the handwriting's on the wall.
I agree with David. I mean, she started off wobbly. Man, I thought she was going to quit tonight. She got wobbly, and then she kind of found herself. And if you're kind of listening to her, you can find some hope. And you can get excited. You can say, hey, listen, you're proud to see that she's still got the fight in her. I loved her line. The first party to retire their 80-year-old candidate will win. I think that's a new line for her. And then she walks off stage and you got 4 weeks of every Republican in the world walking across the street, endorsing Donald Trump and throwing spitballs at you for 4 weeks. And then you go to South Carolina to get humiliated in your home state. I don't think this is going to be a great month for you. It's a great speech, but it may be her last one.
We got close to half the vote.
Yeah.
That was the big payoff tonight. We got close to half the vote.
In a two-person race.
In a two-person race. By the way, in a two-person race in which a huge chunk of the voters are...
Actually, I got to give it to him. That's solid commentary from CNN. You heard David Axelrod. You heard Van Jones. And you heard whoever that gentleman was. We almost got half the vote, and that's the story. But the news is that you had, I believe, if these numbers are correct, 70% of people crossed over in the New Hampshire primary, Democrats, to vote for Nikki Haley. This is the same thing that happened in Iowa. So, but I was saying last night on the Salem News Channel that, listen, in New Hampshire, Nikki Haley, I have to give her credit. As much as I hate to do this, to my chagrin, she was able to come up with a new narrative in New Hampshire because she did do, frankly, better than I expected. So she kind of punched her ticket, if you will, out of New Hampshire. But do you want to take that chance? Just as Axelrod said, do you want to get embarrassed? And Van Jones, do you want to get embarrassed in your home state? Now, here's the thing with South Carolina. I didn't realize, I thought South Carolina was a closed primary. Again, that is an open primary where people can register day of. What are you doing, South Carolina? Stop with this craziness. If you want to know why the country is going to hell in a handbasket, it's because there aren't closed primaries. Republicans need to be judged from the right, and Democrats, middle, left, whatever they are today. All right? That's the way that it needs to happen. That's why we get weak Republicans. That's why we have a country that is in such disarray. Close those primaries. South Carolina, por favor. All right? Close those primaries. But I guarantee you, this is Operation Chaos in reverse, right? From the Democrats. So I guarantee you a lot of Democrats are going to cross over to try to sully Trump and then vote for Nikki Haley. But those same Democrats that cross over to vote for Nikki Haley in the primary, guess who they're going to be voting for in the general election? Joe Biden, Gavin Newsom, or whoever the Democrat nominee will be. I'm just not sure at this point, but likely Joe Biden. All right, now, here's the next clip. This is President Trump. This is President Trump responding to his win in the New Hampshire primary.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Whoa. USA, 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 USA. Well, I want to thank everybody. This is a fantastic state. This is a great, great state. You know, we won New Hampshire 3 times now. Three. We win it every time. We win the primary. We win the generals. We've won it, and it's a very, very special place to me. It's very important. If you remember, in 2016, we came here and we needed that win, and we won by 21 points, and it was great. And today, I have to tell you, it was very interesting because I said, wow, what a great victory. But then somebody ran up to the stage all dressed up nicely when it was at 7. But now I just walked up and it's at 14. But she ran up when it was 7. And, you know, we have to do what's good for our party. And she was up and I said, wow, she's doing like a speech like she won. She didn't win. She lost. And, you know, Last week we had a little bit of a problem, and if you remember, Ron was very upset because she ran up and she pretended she won Iowa. And I looked around, I said, didn't she come in third? Yeah, she came in third. And then I looked at the polls. She was talking about most winnability, who's going to win, and I had one put up. I don't know if you see it, but I have one put up. We've won almost every single poll in the last 3 months against crooked Joe Biden, almost every poll. And she doesn't win those polls. And she doesn't win those. This is not your typical victory speech, but let's not have somebody take a victory when she had a very bad night. She had a very bad night.
Now, listen, I understand there's some Republicans saying that, listen, Trump could have been more gracious, and I get it. I mean, hey, listen, we won, we dominated the race, and I hope for the sake of the party and for the sake of the country, Nikki Haley will jump on board and support my campaign. So I understand that argument, and I think it is a fair argument. But at the same token, I understand Trump's frustration. Obviously, he wants to wrap this thing up. The voters deserve the last say ultimately, all right? But it seems overwhelmingly that the voters are having their say. And again, there are other states that Nikki Haley has not gotten to yet. But guys, she's not going to get momentum by losing. She's going to be coming in second in every single race. She is not strong with the Republican base whatsoever. So at this point, you have to ask, is she trying to vie for VP? If she's trying to vie for VP, it doesn't look like she's doing well. If Trump is the nominee for doing that, is she going to run? Is she going to run third party? Is she just trying to run interference? You have to wonder this. Is she just trying to run interference for the donor class to make sure Joe Biden gets back in the White House? I didn't even think about that yesterday, but that's possible. All right, next video clip, por favor, Gabe.
Christian, who did you vote for and why?
Yeah, so thank you. I voted for Nikki Haley, and it was certainly a strategic vote. I think the DNC is fairly resolute in their nomination for Joe Biden. And while I wouldn't vote for her in a general election, particularly on our differences with climate change solution, a women's right to bodily autonomy, or incarceration rates, I think a vote for Nikki Haley helps diminish Trump's influence in the RNC and their nomination, but is also a vote towards democracy.
And Christian is emblematic of so many conversations that I've had here throughout the day. Rachel?
Alex, Christian, thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's good to have that perspective.
Thank you very much, Christian, for Operation Chaos in New Hampshire. She can't win Republicans, folks. She can't win Republicans. Democrat. He just told you the game plan. They don't even hide it. He just said it. We'll vote for her now, ding Trump, and then vote for Joe Biden in the general. And don't be fooled by any of the polls. All these people, they hate Joe Biden, unfavorables. These lefties are going to come out for Joe Biden. They will. And I don't believe he'll get, I don't believe he'll get as many votes. Let's put it that way. All right. I think there'll be a problem with attrition. I think fewer people will show up for Joe Biden if he is the nominee. But listen, it's going to be a race. It's going to be a race.
And the question is, who's going to fix it? With Donald Trump, Republicans have lost almost every competitive election. We lost the Senate. We lost the House. We lost the White House. We lost in 2018. We lost in 2020. And we lost in 2022. The worst kept secret in politics is how badly the Democrats want to run against Donald Trump. They know Trump is the only Republican in the country who Joe Biden can defeat. You can't fix the mess if you don't win an election. A Trump nomination is a Biden win and a Kamala Harris presidency. I defeat Biden handily. With Donald Trump, you have one bout of chaos after another. This court case, that controversy, this tweet, that senior moment. You can't fix Joe Biden's chaos with Republican chaos. The other day, Donald Trump accused me of not providing security at the Capitol on January 6th. Now, I've long called for mental competency tests for politicians over the age of 75. Trump claims he'd do better than me in one of those tests. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But if he thinks that, then he should have no problem standing on a debate stage with me.
Okay, I have to give it to this chick. I'm seeing this video in a different light right now. I have to give it to her. She's baiting him. She's totally baiting him. And actually it worked because she got the reaction that she wanted from Trump. Instead of saying, listen, we won, whatever, we dominated the race. Nikki put in a great fight, this and that. She wants to bait him, and she wants people to see that reaction, hoping that Donald Trump will be the Donald Trump that she's trying to frame. I think so so that she can do better in South Carolina. She knows there's going to be crossover votes in South Carolina. And you know what else she knows? She doesn't have to get out of the race because she's got donor money. And the donors hate Trump. The donors, I think, would rather have Joe Biden in the White House than Trump because life is not going bad for them. If you read that article by Kimberly Strassel in the Wall Street Journal, the us versus them election, the elites are not hurting under these policies. We are. Guys, listen, I mean, Nikki Haley is delusional, but I have to give her credit. I have to give her credit. She's a good retail politician. To my chagrin, I hate saying that. We've seen her flip flop. We've seen her straight up lie. This is a lady that believes in identity politics. This is a lady that says she wants everybody to register online, social media, etc. This is a lady that's ready to go to war. It seems like at the drop of a hat. But I mean, this is a globalist. This is a lady that supported, China buying land in her own state. But as far as being a good politician, she's skilled. I'm looking at that video in a different light. She knows what she's doing. Maybe she's not completely delusional after all, but I think it's going to fail regardless in the end. Guys, listen, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. This has been your post-New Hampshire primary coverage. And until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you.